It's hard to imagine a situation where being courageous would ever be a harmful mindset for you to adopt. Courage unlocks new avenues you've never previously explored. If you're fearful, certain choices are simply unavailable to you because you don't possess the boldness required to make those moves. But with courage, you're capable of evaluating and even attempting those actions. You unlock an entire set of options that most people will never access. Most individuals lack the courage to explore alternative routes. You need the ability to consider those strategies that the majority won't dare attempt. Most people live consumed by fear. Therefore, bravery becomes an essential attribute to develop. It's something you need to practice. Spend time reflecting and ask yourself, what's the boldest choice I could make right now? What's the most daring path I could take in this moment? Just contemplate it. I'm not telling you to act on it immediately, but you need to get in the habit of entertaining it. Because when you're used to being scared, courageous decisions don't even register in your mind. They don't even enter your awareness. You haven't conditioned your brain to contemplate them. So you have to train your thinking to embrace bravery as it's something that will always apply throughout your life. It doesn't matter if you're wealthy. It doesn't matter if you're broke. It doesn't matter if you're in Brazil or Mongolia. Being able to be brave and having the mental access to choices that only a courageous individual can see is always going to help you. That's why it's essential you reflect on bravery as a critical mindset to shape and sharpen. Life, at its core, is persuasion. Convincing someone to fall in love with you is persuasion. Succeeding at work is persuasion. Life itself is a form of sales, so it's a powerful skill to master. Learning boxing is another excellent pursuit. It's fantastic. Your body and mind are linked. You cannot maintain a resilient mind if your body is weak. Physical strength reinforces mental discipline. Who should you become before attaining wealth? The truth is, money amplifies your nature. It won't transform who you are. It'll just enhance what already exists. If you're a generous soul, you'll become more generous. If you're cruel or selfish, you'll become worse. If you're mentally fragile, money will amplify your fear and insecurity. If you're mentally resilient, it will highlight your strength and confidence. Money doesn't create, it magnifies. This is why you shouldn't wish to be rich too early before facing enough hardship, because men are forged through adversity. Enduring hardship is fundamental to becoming a complete man. No man who has avoided struggle can be called good or capable, but take heart. I believe there's a divine plan for you. You should constantly strive to become wealthy. You should exert yourself without relenting. Every painful moment and challenge you face along that path will serve as a lesson. And when you finally reach financial success, all those lessons will be magnified. That's when you become your finest version. That's how one becomes a true elite. Each day you rise, be ready to give your full attention and effort to whatever you take on. That's all that truly matters. It's like this. If you focus on the work, the results will handle themselves. The outcomes are not the challenge, they're the reward. Wealth isn't hard. Money comes easily. Relationships come easily. The lifestyle you dream about isn't complicated. What's essential is that you develop a love for the process. Love the grind. Fall in love with perfecting your craft. Be committed every day. Never skip a day. The most effective way to ensure you never miss a lucky break is to put in effort every single day. Lucky breaks do happen, but you'll never know which day will be your lucky one unless you show up every day. And once you finally succeed, you'll realize it wasn't as hard as it seemed. All it demanded was persistence. Persistent effort, zero excuses, and doing your job correctly every single time. When you tolerate a certain standard, you admit that you think that's what you deserve. Life will always give you exactly what you believe you're worth. From relationships to friendships, finances to respect. Even your luck is a reflection of what you earn. If you genuinely apply yourself, express gratitude daily, pray with sincerity, and thank the Creator regularly, blessings begin to flow. Miraculous things start happening. You attract the fortune you've earned. When a woman sees that you're the type of man who delivers on his promises, who does everything he says he'll do, you become incredibly appealing. Competence matters more than most things. That's how the masculine world operates. And peacocking, demonstrating what you've accomplished, built our modern civilization. Don't let those who lack ambition convince you that it's all meaningless, that we're all going to die anyway, so nothing matters. That's false. You weren't put on earth to live unnoticed and perish forgotten. You were made to achieve greatness. You were born to create something memorable and leave behind descendants so powerful and competent that your legacy stretches into the future. Your lineage should be synonymous with mastery and strength. That's your purpose. The male peacock displays its feathers to signal what it has. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. That instinct built everything around us. The explorers who risk everything across the oceans did it to prove, look at what I've accomplished. The grand monuments and structures, the cathedrals and skyscrapers were made by men who wanted the world to see their superiority. They said, we did something others cannot. So showing off is not foolish, it's natural. But you should flaunt capability, not trivialities. Display what you can do that others cannot replicate. Show competence. And remember, respect is often found on the far side of fear. If you take a bold step that others shy away from, that's where admiration begins. Masculine camaraderie is also vital. It keeps you aligned. It's far easier to become the best version of yourself when surrounded by men who are also striving for excellence, holding each other accountable, always improving. That's why even solo athletes like boxers train in camps. The company of other warriors strengthens your resolve. You're meant to be pushed constantly. The core of masculinity is to leave a legacy behind. And the simplest path to that is to have a strong support system, your brothers, helping you chase your peak potential. When people say they don't know how to maintain their motivation or fire, I find that curious. In a world where you have unlimited access to real-time examples of success, how can you possibly feel like you've achieved anything worth celebrating? Say you've made $100,000, you're still nowhere near the goalpost. That's not wealth. That's a tiny step. That's not transformation. That's not accomplishment. That's not a legacy. If that small gain satisfies you, that's a deeper issue. You're misunderstanding what success truly is. Celebrating small wins too early is a mental trap. Mainstream psychology may tell you to embrace the little wins and reward yourself with milestones. That's nonsense. The fact that a tiny success leads you to slow down reveals your faulty mindset. You have no idea what achievement really means. I personally don't see myself as successful, not truly. So how could you? Why would you even think you've done enough to stop? I work constantly, 7 days a week, 18 hours a day. Sick or healthy, it doesn't matter. I never skip, never take a break. So this whole mindset of I had a good week, so now I'm taking a vacation is baffling. You'll never reach greatness that way. People often look at the ultra wealthy and ask why they still work so much. If I had that kind of money, I'd just relax. But they miss the point. That attitude is why they'll never be wealthy. The person who relaxes the moment they earn something is not the kind of person who ever becomes extraordinary. True wealth only comes to the obsessed, the tireless, the relentless, the ones who grind when no one is watching. That's why all ultra-rich individuals are workaholics. Because that's the only route to the top. Sure, eventually, if you hit unimaginable levels of success like Jeff Bezos, you can afford some breaks. But until then, you work relentlessly. But the main point I'm emphasizing is that you need to genuinely fall in love with feeling proud of yourself for how much effort you've devoted to a mission. That sense of pride and fulfillment from dedication must mean more to you than taking it easy. Relaxation is likely the dullest suggestion someone could ever make to me. If you say, Andrew, how about we just relax? I'll say, what do I do? Stare at the ceiling? That sounds unbearable. There's almost nothing worse than relaxing. I don't want to chill. I want to work. Because when I put in work and achieve something, I feel a rush of satisfaction. I've accomplished something, and that brings happiness. When I sit around relaxing, I've done nothing. So what's the benefit? There's no reward in it. It doesn't even relax me. In fact, it makes me incredibly restless. So I get more tense doing nothing than if I just pushed through the work. Which is why relaxation feels impossible for me. He said, it seems like you might have an anxiety disorder. But if that so-called disorder allows me to stay productive nonstop and prevents me from feeling content until all my work is done, then I'm grateful for it. Because if I didn't have this disorder, I'd be just another average nobody like the rest of you. You're running out of time, genuinely. Your window is closing, and the urgency is real. You have to get yourself together fast. If someone wants to label that energy as anxiety, then maybe go get yourself some. Don't complain about headaches. Don't whine about work. Don't waste your time arguing with women. You have goals to accomplish. Whether or not your head hurts is irrelevant. The job still needs doing. Anxiety is really just untapped energy. Give me more of it. I'll take all I can get. That buzzing feeling of nervousness, that inability to sit still, to switch off, or to rest, that's raw energy waiting to be directed. You just need the self-control to aim it toward a purpose. You need to sit at home and feel that internal fire. Because you don't have all the wealth you desire, all the recognition you crave, and your name still hasn't echoed into the timeline of history. You're not engraved in any hall of legacy yet. Take all that internal restlessness, all that silent rage, and pour it into a single objective. Choose one mission and go all in. It's entirely on your shoulders. I can't carry you across the finish line. I can only point out where the starting line is and pump you up before the sprint. I'll walk you to the track, encourage you, tell you it's all worth it. But I won't run for you. You've got to run your own race. You can't drag your body through it. If you're going to ask me dumb questions about how to function with a headache, you're simply not going to succeed. There will be countless people in the world who never make it. But if you push through, if you win, the reward is real because you're remembered. And that's the real purpose of being alive as a man, to leave a lasting mark. Life isn't about comfort. Life isn't about comfort. Life isn't about cruising through without hardship or setbacks. The role of a man is to endure enough adversity that people remember your name. To die for something, to live for something bigger than yourself. That's the only true meaning behind all of this. There's no deeper game. You must work to attach your identity to something great that influences culture and civilization. That's it. And that journey is incredibly hard to take if you're insignificant, poor, lazy, foolish, and complaining about a headache. Many of you don't realize how little time you truly have. Time is everything. It can be transformed into anything. We already know time can become money. You've heard it a million times. Time is money. That's true. But the reverse is also true. Money is time. You spend money to save time. Time is the enemy of the wealthy man. So he uses private jets to get places quicker. Money is the enemy of the broke man. So he waits around for buses to save a few bucks. But they're two sides of the same coin. Money and time. So when I say you don't have time, I mean it literally. Remember this. Apply it constantly. You don't have time to deal with headaches. I'm not saying the pain isn't real. I'm not saying your skull isn't throbbing. But you don't have the luxury to let it slow you down. You simply don't have the waking hours to spare. You are being outperformed, out-hustled, outmaneuvered by individuals far more capable, powerful, and connected than you. People who know more than you, who've seen more than you, and who are hungrier than you. You do not have time to be held back by a headache. That's not something you can afford. The way you phrase the question, how do I perform with a headache, already shows a lack of understanding. Let me offer you a perspective. Imagine you're in training camp and you pick up an injury. My coach would always say, is your opponent going to take it easy on you because of your injury? Of course not. If we say, okay, we're fighting, but midway through training camp, I pulled something in my leg, so can you ease up? He's still going to go for the kill. He doesn't care. So why should you care? Why would I care? Nobody cares about your excuses. The people who want to take your position, who want your potential earnings, who want to date the woman you're with, they don't care if you're in pain. They don't care about your struggles. They don't care that your head hurts. So why on earth would you let that be a reason to pause? Why should it affect your output? You have to rewire your mind. Stop giving importance to excuses. You do not have the time to waste doing most of what you currently do. And it's always been this way. Think about it. Do you believe a woman sees you as competent when you complain about something as minor as a headache? Let's say your head genuinely hurts. Sure, that's unfortunate, but if you say, oh, my head is pounding, do you think she feels inspired? Do you think she looks at you and thinks, yes, this is the man I've been waiting for? Maybe she'll offer you a pill, But internally, she's thinking, this guy's soft. Unless you got knocked in the head with a steel bar or shot in the face, why is your head hurting? From what, watching TikTok for 6 hours? Most of you deserve the mediocrity you experience. The universe is just. People often cry, life isn't fair. I disagree. On a long enough timeline, I believe karma evens everything out. You get what you earn. So if your life doesn't meet your expectations, ask yourself, do you really deserve better? Have you really pushed yourself to the limit? Did you ignore the pain and keep going anyway? Have you become as competent, as capable, as relentless as you possibly could be? Did you give it everything you had, every single time? No, most people didn't. Most people don't. And that's why they have what they have. You deserve the mediocrity you endure because you are average. You want a Lamborghini, yachts, exotic vacations, beautiful women, all the things you see on social media. But wanting those things isn't enough. Deserving them is what matters. If you truly deserve those things, you'd be grinding in a way that makes it inevitable, that makes it guaranteed. Everything I've ever wanted in life, I've eventually received. Not because it was handed to me, not instantly and not easily. In fact, it was always difficult. It always took persistence. But I wanted those things deeply enough to work until the universe surrendered them. I've always believed if you demonstrate to God, to the universe, that you're all in, truly all in, then you get rewarded. That's how it's worked for me. I can't remember a single moment, and I mean this with complete honesty. I can't recall a time where I said, this needs to be done, and then chose not to do it just because I had a headache. Not once, not ever. It's always easier if you find joy in what you're doing. Because then motivation and interest aren't obstacles. To claim someone could honestly become a world champion at something they despise would be dishonest. You can certainly become skilled in things you don't particularly enjoy. You can reach a high level of competence in tasks that don't excite you. But to rise to the absolute top, to dominate globally, you usually need to fall in love with the process. You can fall in love with the concept of being excellent. That attitude can carry over into every task you undertake. Personally, if I choose to do something, I commit to mastering it. I either don't engage at all, or I give it my complete focus and energy, striving to reach excellence. I see no purpose in being average. Mediocrity makes no sense to me. If I'm going to do something, anything, I want to be exceptional at it. Whether it's podcasting, speaking, training, or anything else, I aim to bring my best. That's because I value self-respect and understand the importance of effort as a habit. You should have enough self-respect to make maximum effort your default setting. Give your absolute best every single time. That attitude must become habitual. Even something as small as picking up a video game should be approached with seriousness. When you drive a car, aim to do it smoothly and efficiently. Avoid unnecessary braking. Save fuel. Avoid abrupt movements. Think, if the Queen herself were in the backseat and you couldn't brake hard, how would you drive? Most people simply jump into their car and cruise around like lunatics from point A to point B without even considering improving their driving as a skill. But what if you drove with full awareness, gliding smoothly, reading traffic ahead, positioning your car smartly? What if you actually tried to master it? The way you do anything becomes the way you do everything. It becomes part of who you are. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with being good at things. In fact, it's a necessity to reach the pinnacle in any field. Yes, you probably need to love it. That's the reality. But life isn't going to hand you a career filled with only things you adore. Most of what you end up doing won't be fun. That's life. The hack is to love getting better. You might not love the activity itself, but you can fall in love with progress. If you're doing something you don't like, but you're doing it better than you did yesterday, you begin to enjoy it. Improvement is addictive. Everything I do with intensity. That's not because of arrogance. It's because I respect myself. And more crucially, I respect the people who depend on me, whether it's my children, my partner, my family, or my closest allies. When they rely on me, I owe them competence. I must be capable. And if I'm not yet skilled in something, I must be good at learning. You can train yourself to be an excellent learner. You can train yourself to focus hard, to take things seriously, to adapt and grow. These are baseline life skills that, when combined with courage, place you far above the average man. Because most people can't even focus for more than a few minutes. Most people never try hard at anything. So if you're wondering whether it's possible to become a world champion without loving boxing, the answer is no, not at the elite level. But you can become very good. Discipline allows that. You can be the type of person who goes to training no matter what. And once you're there, you train like your life depends on it. You don't waste the hour. You're going to be at the gym for 60 minutes, whether you slack or not. So why not push yourself? Why not go all in? That's a habit you can develop. Most people go through adulthood without ever trying their hardest. Think about that. Even in the gym, do you really give it everything? Do you go all out at work? Do you attack every task with 100% effort? Or are you coasting through at 60%, maybe 70% on a good day? Most people have never tasted their full power. They've never reached inside and pulled out every ounce of capability they possess. Never, and it shows. We are now entering a time in history that is more competitive than ever before. You're not just up against your neighbor, you're competing with people across the globe. The stakes are massive. That means you need to be operating at a high level all the time. You need to be good at every single thing you do all the time, even if it's not directly related to your main goal, because excellence compounds and every skill transfers over into your character. The boxing ring teaches you psychology, teaches you truths about energy, fatigue, resilience. When you're winning, you feel unstoppable. You tap into a second wind. It's when you're losing that you feel drained. Energy disappears. That's not physical, it's psychological. Winning creates momentum. Momentum brings motivation. The hard part is the beginning, the grind at the start. But once you're winning, it's easier to keep winning. It becomes a snowball effect. Positive reinforcement loops build upon themselves. And that's true with money too. The first dollars are the hardest. Once you've broken through, success breeds more success. That's the real game. But to get there, you must embrace difficulty. You must face the pain and push through. You must become good at things, and you must never settle for mediocrity. Coasting is a terrible habit. Half order is a disease. You see it online all the time. People posting, well, at least I showed up. That's not enough. It was never about just going to the gym. It's about giving your best while you're there. This half-hearted, participation-based mentality is a lie. If you're already there, why wouldn't you push? Why waste the effort of showing up by slacking off once you arrive? This mindset that showing up alone is sufficient is the reason so many people stay stagnant. They've convinced themselves that attendance equals progress. It doesn't. Trying does. Real effort does. And once you adopt that habit of giving it your all in everything, you'll find yourself improving in every area of life. You'll speak better, drive better, train harder, earn more, protect more, love deeper. It all stems from giving your maximum all the time. That becomes your new standard. And suddenly, you don't even know how to half-ass anything anymore. That lazy mindset becomes foreign to you. That's how you win. So you must train yourself to be excellent at improving. Master the skill of trying hard, even in tasks you don't like, especially in those tasks. Because once you can bring your full effort to something unpleasant, your baseline rises. Now you're capable, even under stress. And that capacity is what creates winners. Success is like pregnancy. Everyone congratulates you once it's visible, but no one knows how many times you got screwed along the way. And that's part of the beauty of it. All those struggles, they built you. They gave you the wisdom required to succeed. Without them, you'd never understand what it takes. You'd never appreciate the victory. The reason a loyal, loving woman is so valuable is because you've seen the opposite. If you've dealt with a cheating, manipulative narcissist, you know what a good woman is worth. Contrast teaches gratitude. The same goes for every aspect of life. There's no light without darkness. So when hard times hit, be thankful, genuinely. Say thank you to God for the lesson. Thank you for the pain, because that pain is molding you into someone who can handle the life you desire. When that great life comes, you'll be able to hold on to it. You'll know what it took to get there. and you'll never take it for granted. So success isn't just about rising to the top. It's about becoming the kind of man who can stay there. And that only happens if you go through the fire. Failures, betrayals, pain, they're part of the process. Welcome them. Use them. Let them sharpen your mind and deepen your strength. That's the only way you get to the top and remain standing when you arrive.